I've been meaning to make this video for a while. These are some clips from when I went on a cruise this past summer. The cruise took place out of Seattle. We went up the inner passage of Alaska. We stopped in Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan, and also cruised in the Tracy Arm Fjord, although that did end up changing due to some conditions at hand. So I'm kind of just going to talk over here and there and let y'all enjoy the sights and sounds of what Alaska looks like. The first and second day of the cruise were pretty much just days at sea. So, this being my first cruise, I pretty much just enjoyed the views, tried to make sure I wasn't going to get seasick, and looked out for wildlife off of our balcony. Overall, it was a really cool experience having never been on a ship this big before, and I really liked it. I tried to wake up early in the mornings to make sure I could see kind of where we were and what we were looking at. I'm also obsessed with Google Maps, so the whole time I was kind of looking to see where we were at. I had downloaded the maps offline prior to our cruise, so it was really cool kind of tracing along the shoreline and seeing what features stood out. So the first 2 days were really beautiful, but as we moved into the third, we were supposed to cruise the Tracy Arm Fjord. This did not end up happening though, as there were too many icebergs kind of floating around the glacier. So we ended up instead kind of detouring and we ended up checking out Endicott Arm Glacier. I believe that's what it's called. And it was really cool. We saw lots and lots of wildlife. But I will say, if you do want to see some of the wildlife, or if they call out wildlife, you pretty much have to get up to the top deck right away. Otherwise, you will not find a spot. All in all, it was super beautiful and it was one of my favorite days of the whole trip. Just sitting there and taking in the Alaskan beauty. It was absolutely incredible. As we passed through these different islands, we were able to see sea lions, seals, other little wildlife creatures, and also tons of whales of all different varieties. And I'm pretty sure as we passed this island here, we actually saw a black bear or a brown bear. It was really hard to tell, but there was a little spot on the shoreline that was kind of moving around. So, all in all, super cool experience. And the first few days were absolutely amazing. As excitement began to bubble up, I was excited as we were approaching Skagway for our following day. Once we got to Skagway, I knew that it would be a very fun and exciting adventure, as again, I've never stepped foot in Alaska until this point, so I was very excited to see whatever this town would have in store for us. But for the last little bit of this section, I'll just kind of let these clips play out and let you enjoy some music. On day four, we had finally made it to Skagway. We went through Klondike Gold Rush Historic Park, checked out some of the local shops in town, and then because it was the 4th of July, we also got to check out their local parade. The parade itself was really charming. They had members from the National Park Service, a lot of the local town commissions. They also included the local high school. They had a lot of different people, and all in all, it was just a really exciting parade to check out. If you ever get the chance to go to Skagway during the 4th of July, I highly recommend it. Additionally, the entire parade was just really charming, really cute, and the town definitely knows how to celebrate. After leaving the parade, we decided to get on the White Pass Railroad. The White Pass Railroad is a historic railroad that has been around for quite some time. It takes you up into the mountains and also gets to actually take you over into Canada. As you make your way through the mountains and up towards the pass, you end up thinking about what life would have been like traveling through this area back in the older days. Now, the train itself is an incredible excursion, and I do highly recommend it. There are a few minor drawbacks. It is really loud the entire time. You will most likely not have a conversation unless you're screaming. The other drawback is the price. It is a little bit pricey, but I do think it's well worth it if you have the time to go. The last thing I really did in Skagway was I went on a small little hike up to Yakutania Point. I hope I said that right. The other part of it was Smuggler's Cove. This little area was super cool, and I had never really hiked up in the Alaskan wilderness. Not that being next to the town is the wilderness, but it just felt so pristine and untouched that it truly felt like a wilderness area. Skagway was our first port on the cruise, and it absolutely blew me away. I truly hope in the future I can get back and explore more of the town and its surrounding areas. For the next day, we had finally made it to Juneau. Juneau is a city I've always wanted to visit, and it absolutely blew me away. The first thing we did was we went on a whale watching expedition. If you have never gone, this is a life changing event. We saw countless whales. We even got to see a mom and her babies. There was countless other forms of wildlife, so on and so forth. From here, I then went on the Mount Roberts tramway. This was a really cool tramway, and even though I'm terrified of heights, it actually wasn't too bad. They do cram you in like sardines on this, so just be prepared if you get claustrophobic and have a fear of heights, it might give you a little bit of anxiety. Overall, though, you're up the mountain in just a few minutes, and then you have access to a lot of cool trails and a really cool information center. Once you've ascended the mountain, you can get off the tram, and then essentially you have access to a bunch of different trails. You can do a small loop, or if you're feeling real ambitious, you can do the about 4.5 miles up to Gastineau Peak. Because I was short on time, I didn't end up doing the full peak summit, but I did do a little loop and then kind of went back and down the mountain. I think this was one of the coolest experiences of my whole trip. Having never been to Alaska, this is what I imagined it would look like. This was like the ideal form of just pure mountains, the snowy capped peaks, and the harbor all in one shot. I took one of my favorite photos here, and honestly, I normally try not to include too many photos in my videos, but I was really proud of this one, so I'm going to share it here. Although I didn't really record much of it, I do also recommend actually walking around in downtown Juneau. Downtown Juneau is really cool, and if you're a history guy, there's lots of history plaques all over the town. Our time in Ketchikan was cut very short and also couldn't record a whole lot because it was pouring down rain. All I can say is it's a really cute, charming town, and I highly recommend checking out the U.S. Forest Service Visitor Center if you get the chance to go. For our last stop, we actually went over into Canada. This was my first time really stepping out onto Canadian soil, and we were only there for about 2.5 hours. We did go to Victoria, which was really cool, but as we were pulling into the harbor, we got to see a lot of different sea life. All in all, I think Alaska is worth it. If you have the money or the time, you can go on an Alaskan cruise. Please do. I was very fortunate to go, and I'm very thankful for everyone who helped make that happen. In the future, I would like to get back. I would like to check out more stuff because I felt like the cruise was a great option for the first time, but there's some places I really want to dive deep into. Anyways, sorry there's been a delay in my videos. Life has been coming at me really fast here lately. So, for the future, I will try and get some more stuff out this summer, but if not, I am still adventuring, still living my best life.